Good evening everyone and welcome to another Guild Wars dungeon run here on Ragplays. Today we're going to be doing the Ooze Pit, I do believe. It is today's Zaishen Bounties, so we're going to be nipping over to the Great Temple of Balthazar to pick up the dungeon quest. I'm going to take this little ship here. You can do this from any port city in any of the major continents, either on Ilona, Cantha, or Tyria, as we are in now, and going to select the Great Temple of Balthazar and go pick up the quest. Now, hopefully I'm remembering where the actual dungeon quest is, because this is just the bounty. There are new bounties every day, they switch. So today is kill the 3 prismatic oozes, which are the boss at the end of the dungeon. Sometimes it's just an enemy that you randomly encounter out in the wild, and sometimes it's you know, something in the underworld or in the Fissure of Woe. Today it's this. I am going to now travel back to Lion's Arch, because that is the continent that the dungeon is on. We're going to zoom way out, and we're going to go up to the Char Homelands. Now the dungeon is here. I'm not entirely sure where the actual quest for the dungeon is, so I'm going to assume it's in... probably in Doomlore, if I'm remembering correctly, but we'll see about that. So let's find out real quick before I go to all the trouble of locating a party. It's either going to be Gron Fierce Claw over here or somebody on the outside. I'm thinking it's probably somebody on the outside, but we'll check this good charm merchant here first.
You want something?
It's not Temple of the Damned, and it's not Veiled Threat. I don't think. No, that's Regar's Menagerie, and that is Mirakai's. So the Ooze Pit will likely be outside here. And is this where people are getting parties together? No. Longeye's Ledge would be where that is. So I'm gonna check out here just in case. Rowan Fierceheart is the main quest. Seer Fierce Rain is probably the one we need. Unless I'm mistaken here.
You may be useful.
Time to get sticky. Prismatic oozes. Here we go. Watch it jiggle. Alright, so it is there. I was right in my initial assessment. It's the Ooze Pit. So we're going to travel back over to Longeye's Ledge, and then I'm going to go about getting a party together, and hopefully I can find some people who want me to join. If not, this may be a complete wash, but we'll see. I'll be back when we're underway, guys. And we're back, guys. By the way, I'm going to be playing on my Ranger. You'll see what he does once we get to the dungeon, or once we get into some combat, but for the most part, we're just going to be running there. It's not too far of a trip, it's just down here. I know you can't see where my mouse pointer is, but I'll have to get used to that fact, because I can see it. And got a full party of real players, which is something to be praised in this day and age, I suppose. Although it's fairly easy when you're doing the ZB to get a group together. Everybody wants to do that. It's extra reward at the end of a dungeon. It's really the only time you can probably find a good group to do dungeons with if you're not in a guild. I am in a guild, but it happens to be my guild, and everybody who was in it no longer really plays, so... Uh-oh. We're getting into some combat now. I'm going to splinter weapon my bow and actually start barraging here, which is what I do as a ranger. It's one of the things you can do as a ranger. It's just what I happen to choose to do. I've made the mistake of not bringing lockpicks on this run, which is somewhat unfortunate. It's going to be a little more bland. That's my own fault, guys. Mea culpa. We won't be opening that many chests other than the one at the end, but maybe we'll get something good. Maybe we'll have some good drops. We'll see. Just kind of was off the cuff. I wasn't planning on recording anything today. I've kind of not been in the mood to record much. I hope that'll pick up in autumn once we. I should probably switch to my correct title. Once we get back into Knights of the Old Republic. Are we being chased? We are being chased. Hopefully the monk doesn't die because we can't stop right now. I'm going to switch over to Valued Agent. Gives me extra, and it looks like the Paragon managed to run his way there with no problem, so that's really nice. Speaking of Grothmar, and select the bounty so that we get some extra reputation points. Alright, well then. Quickly Splinter Barrage myself again, if I can. And start shooting. That's all I do as a ranger. It's kind of a running gag. Ragnar North Ranger used Barrage. Killed because that's all I ever played as. Nowadays I actually like doing the Incendiary Arrows a little better as a build. I find it more fun, but I thought I'd do what I normally used to do for this particular run. Quickly buff my attack speed by clicking lightning reflexes here. Just keep barraging away. This dungeon isn't very hard. We shouldn't have too much problems, except for maybe on the last boss and maybe some of the mobs if we happen to... But it's easy to ball these enemies. Like the dervishes are doing great jobs already. Look at all those numbers. Love that. I have a bow that's not ideal for this. I'm gonna buff myself so that I don't get hit by these oozes. Just keep spamming. Not the most intense. Uh-oh. Okay, a little too much damage there. Back, you devils. Oh, they really want me for some reason. Probably better they focus on me, though, because I have slightly more armor than the casters do. Slightly less than the warriors. The warrior is probably the highest deep damage resistance of all of us, and the Paragon. This is the Paragon throwing these spears here. The warrior is this guy with the sword. Looks like a bird. Yeah. Love doing that, though. Still to this day. Ragnar here was my first character in Guild Wars that I ever made, and he is, let's see. He is 1,437 hours old. I've played him for that long, and I've played him over the past 133 months, so what is that? About 10 years, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe more than 10 years, almost 12 years. I'm really not good at math on the fly. We gotta avoid these boulders. It's a good way to get ourselves killed. Sometimes you'll see new players, like they'll hear this rumbling and it's not registering to what it is, but this dervish was playing it kind of close there. Splinter up. Get my, I don't really like this particular cluster. We're not... No. Okay, I'm dying. I need to get away. Oh, jeez. There's the first death. It's bound to happen. Monks can't really get the... We're fighting in poison. That doesn't help matters. Ay. These traps are basically what killed us here. I shouldn't have been fighting that far up. That was dumb. Let's not do it again. Get my lightning reflexes on so I avoid damage. I'm poisoned again. That's the monk's job to take care of. There's nothing I can do about it. If I had Antidote Signet, I could probably do something, but it's not something I typically bring in my build. Aggressive oozes. Try and get the biggest cluster of enemies that I can find, but it's sometimes a little tricky. But I'm not having too much of an issue with it right now. Just gotta keep barraging. Okay, a little higher ground. See what I'm doing. I'm gonna switch bows. This one is not the most ideal for what this job is. I'd like a little more range. There we go. Unstable gelatinous material. I think that's used for something in here. For blowing up things, maybe? Sure, I select myself for the splinter barrage. Looks like somebody popped cons, which is probably a good idea. Make sure I get the best cluster. Doing good. Stay splintered up. Sometimes hard. Part of what the ranger does as well is it has interrupts, so if I see a dangerous spell being cast, I can try and stop it from being cast if I can get the timing right, and that can be a little tricky. There are other classes that are better at interrupts, but it's good utility for rangers to have, honestly. Even if they're not the best at it, it's better to have it and not be good at it than not have it at all. Some of their more useful abilities, I find. To get this rate of fire up here, but this is the problem with a flat bow. Flat bows have a higher angle to them, a higher arc, but because of that, obviously they have a greater range, but the arrows are easier to miss, and usually I prefer a flat bow if I have to pick, but the current bow that I tend to use most often now is a recurve bow, which is one of the shorter range bows, but faster arrow travel because there's less arc. Not a fan of it for places with annoying terrain. Keep the splinter barrage up, keep spamming. They seem to be blocking it. They might have a ward against melee up or something like that, even though this is a ranged attack, it still counts as a melee weapon, technically, or the damage counts as melee. It's piercing damage. Let's avoid these boulders. Making good time through here. The Paragon is keeping us nice and speedy, and our run speed is good. This is a little dangerous. Hopefully they block right there. Good job, guys. Good job. Doing exactly what they should be doing and tanking with their bodies. There's no aggro drawing skills in Guild Wars, so it's all up to the skill of the player. The only thing that draws aggro is low armor, as far as I know. So the casters will be the thing that most of the melee classes will go after. Enemies in this game have mostly all the same skills, and there's a chest that we're not going to be able to open. That's kind of disappointing. Mostly all the same skills as players do, so they have access to the same abilities and potentially builds, which can make enemies particularly dangerous in Guild Wars compared to other MMOs. Like there aren't per se any junk mobs in this game, especially in hard mode. Anything has the potential to kind of sneak up on you if you're not prepared to your best. What do we have in that room? We have more oozes, and they're attacking things. Hopefully we can slip around these. Oh, you want me to pull? Okay, yeah, of course. That's because I'm the ranger. Oopsie doozy. Ow. 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 Yeah, that didn't go so well. The monks aren't able to handle the damage load exactly right. Sometimes you just get these huge spikes that are, you know, it happens. Got a gold drop here. It's somebody else's though. Great axe. Keep the fire up. Still got a couple of stragglers left. Wasn't my best pull either, though I've never been particularly good at pulling to begin with. Usually overpull. This is a Mesmer. He's using a lot of really annoying skills that drain your energy and also do massive amounts of armor-ignoring damage, as Mesmers are wont to do. They are pretty broken in the current meta, which has been the current meta for 10 years now, so not much can be done about that. I kind of don't want them to change, though, because they're too good. And you really like them when they're in your party. Unfortunately, we don't have any in our party right now. We just have an elementalist for a caster, I believe. One Ellie and mostly melees, which could be to our detriment or our advantage, it's hard to say. I know for a fact that the end bosses are high-level casters. They're elementalists, I think. Which could be better because we have higher levels of armor at the end of it. Well, that being said, we're taking a lot of damage just getting there. See, there's one there. That's Gloop, and I think he's slightly akin to his bigger brethren at the end of the level. He might even be one of them. I'm not sure. Okay, that's them dead. And there goes our... Disable his water trident. I managed to interrupt him properly on that one. Get our melee nonsense all sorted. Try and kill him quickly. He's blocking it somehow. But we have won the day. Alright. I also have a pet that I have on my bar, but I'm not resurrecting it. I tend to only use it for normal mode. It's just sort of to fill a slot there. I didn't really know what else to put on the bar. Probably could have been made better use of Eben's standard of honor or whatever to increase my energy, or what the hell is it called? Strength and honor? No. It's a Norn skill anyway. It buffs your damage for the next X number of attacks, and it basically lasts forever until it's used up. I should have brought that. What is that skill called? That's gonna bother me. Okay, that's a bad time for me to be checking skills. I'll just get myself to attack, and then do it quickly before anyone notices. Where is it? I am the strongest is what I was thinking of. Gives, next 8 attacks deal plus 20 damage. That would have been nice to have, but I can't switch out my skills when I'm in the dungeon. I can only do it in town. That's the nice thing about Guild Wars, though, is you don't need respec tokens or anything like that to change your build. You just do it whenever you want, whenever you're in town, free of charge. As long as you have the skills, you can do it. Of course, that boulder is coming this way. Oh, shit! That's unfortunate. By the time I saw it, I ran to the wrong side of the hallway. Another one. We don't want to be fighting here. This is a bad place to be fighting. Complete noob mistake, too. I don't know this dungeon overly well. I know it's not a hard one. And I know we're, coming up to the second level soon-ish. My, barrage on the go here. Barrage is an attack that hits 5 adjacent foes for plus 19 damage, so it's pretty good. One of the best that the Ranger has access to. A new one was added recently that is slightly stronger, probably. I don't really care for it though because it's a support skill, and I don't feel like Rangers are really a support class in the standard sense. They're a midline class rather than like strictly healers or whatever. And we're already at the final boss, by the way. It's a short one. I like this. Not gonna take long to render. Oh boy. I have this arc. Let's try Vampiric Weapon and, oh boy. Try and interrupt them if I can. We don't want to kill too many of them at once, that's the thing. I'm gonna stay the fuck back. Bad idea that I'm up here. Oh boy. A hard time putting out damage. Sorry guys, I'm kind of concentrating on doing the right thing here. Suddenly, thousands of oozes. Keep the pressure up. Oh, Jesus. Try and keep them off the monks here. That's where I kind of specialize at as a ranger, is hitting multiple enemies at once, so this was probably a wise choice, bringing this particular character to this dungeon. Do Vampiric Weapon and then do a triple shot if I can get the energy for it, or not. We'll just waste that on one attack at a time. It combos well with triple shot because it does three attacks. Triple shot has 3 arrows, so you can do a high spike of heal. If you're in an emergency, you really need to. Oh boy. There's a lot of oozes here. What did she get that she's excited about? Chrysocolla staff. That's a rare staff for this dungeon, so it's a good reason to be excited. Let's see what we get though. Ah. Alright, we've got the quest item, we've got a spiraling spear, and we have a half moon. Not bad. I'm excited about the spear. Let's see what it is. Our identification kit and spiraling spear of shelter. Very bad spear requirement on that. It's 13 spear mastery. That's the worst it can get. Rec 9 would be ideal, so that any class that has 9 spear mastery could use it. It gets incrementally more expensive the more you dump into a particular skill point. Armor plus 7 to the pain inscription, which sucks, which is plus whatever while attacking. And there's the half moon, which is a bow, a short bow, that has a enchanting modification on it, which could be useful, but also an I have the power inscription. This was worth it just for that inscription, because I happen to need that for an assassin build that I'm working on. I need it for a martial weapon, so I can salvage that off of there and put that on maybe a sword or an axe or something of that nature. I'm going to do that right now. Crippling bowstring and grip of enchanting. The grip would be nice as well, but sadly I need the inscription, and that's all I got out of it. The spear of shelter I'm not overly concerned with. It's kind of junk, but maybe I'll get this grip off of it at least. Yeah. Alright. And that, guys, is the dungeon. I'm going to go turn in these quests. Do that. Let's go to this place. and just head out. Turn in our quests. I get 1,500 gold for doing each portion of this, so that's 3k in total for each of the 2 quests. I think it was Seer Fierce Rain who gave us the actual dungeon quest.
You
Yep.
look weak.
Okay, so 1,250 gold. Not as good, but still pretty good. And we will jump to the Great Temple of Balthazar by clicking on the ship here. And turn in our bounty. Talking to Zenshu. So we get 10,000 experience, 1,500 gold, 2,500 dwarf reputation points, and 105 copper Zaishen coins. We'll take those coins and we'll immediately turn them into silver coins. 50 of the coppers give you 1 silver, so we'll craft 2 of them. And then go wrap this up. Switch back to my proper title, Legendary Master of the North, now that we're not fighting in Char Homelands. And dump our gains into our chest. And that's about going to do it for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed that quick little dungeon run. I wasn't expecting on doing anything. I think it went pretty well. Let's put my costumes back in my inventory and have 5 extra coins. Looks like I lost an identification kit. No, an expert salvage kit. Okay. Stick those in there as well. And we'll withdraw 500 gold. And head over to the merchant before wrapping this up. Replace that salvage kit. Slightly less than I thought it was going to be. Alright, guys. From Ragnar, North Ranger, and me, have a good one.